Brace yourself. Get it passed up anytime now. Collect yourself. Things will never be the same in this sad world. Around a lot a bit, trying to make the pieces fit to a puzzle with a million missing pieces. When I'm feeling fine is when I discover that I'm afraid to blow my cover, and there's something very wrong with this. So sit back in your hole.
Welcome everybody, good to be with you today. We're continuing our discussion of Plato here. So remember, Plato has you over for dinner. It's a dinner of fruit, and this is what's laid out on his table. I guess I gave the answer away. What doesn't belong on the table?
The orange.
The orange. Why?
Because it's apples.
Right, because it's surrounded by apples. So what according to Plato, what is it that the orange lacks that all the other things have? Henry? Appleness, and we had this collective sigh of, what? Come on, man. So, that's this question. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
No one's going to shout no. Sixth period was split, half and half. Well, sixth period was split, yes, no, and I don't care. So it was split half and half and half. No.
All middle school, please come down to picture day if you need it. They can retake their photos. All middle school need to retake their photos. Please come down to the gym.
Nobody wants to say no. So everybody who cares has agreed that a hot dog is a sandwich. Yeah. Do we understand when people argue about this? Do you understand why they're arguing?
No, not really.
No. So I'm not asking you if I have a strong opinion. You tell me you don't really understand why there's an argument at all, or are you pretending not to understand?
No.
That's how wars get started.
No.
You don't understand why there's a...
No.
It looks pretty clear to me that
It's always like...
So again, I reiterate, that's how wars get started. That the answer looks clear to you is not the same as saying I don't understand why there's a question, just like I don't understand what Brian's looking at. Marcos, you understand why there's a question?
Yeah, I mean, usually sandwiches have sandwich at the end of the day.
You have sandwich at the end of the name?
Yeah, like a Subway sandwich or a chicken sandwich.
Sure. And we don't call it a hot dog sandwich. So you can imagine there's a spectrum, okay? And over here is something that everybody would recognize as a sandwich. And over here is something that everyone would recognize as not a sandwich. Are we following me so far? Yeah. Right? Everyone recognizes not a sandwich. All right, so there's a spectrum of sandwichness, and hot dog falls somewhere between the two. I don't mean it actually falls dead center because I added the pictures, but a hot dog falls somewhere between two. It's not completely one of these, but it's certainly not in no way one of these. Does that make sense? That this is how the reality of hot dogs are laid out, or the reality of sandwiches. There's a spectrum of sandwichness. If we can recognize our world in this picture, then we're already thinking like Plato. We just didn't realize it. For if Plato knew what sandwiches were, right, he'd be arguing over whether a hot dog was a gyro. Because he was Greek. I don't know if they had gyros in Plato's time or not. Plato would say there is an eternal, perfect, unchanging idea or form of sandwiches. That every individual sandwich is just a pale reflection of. And it's that eternal, perfect, unchanging sandwichness. That's what's real. That's the real sandwich. And the thing is or isn't a sandwich to the extent that it reflects that ideal form of sandwichness. What he's talking about is something, here comes fun, annoying philosophy term. He's talking about something that philosophers call quiddity. Quid is Latin for this. It's thisness or whatness. All right. Less obnoxiously, it's something we call the essence of a thing. So the essence of the thing up in the left corner is appleness. The essence, the form, the idea of these things is what? And of those things? And of these things? Yes. So appleness, hoarseness, chairness, and baldness are examples of what Plato calls, I'm getting paid right now, are examples of what Plato calls forms or ideas or ideals or ideal forms. He uses those terms interchangeably. Where form comes from, if in ancient Greece, if you're carving a statue, right, you would have, the sculptor would have a wooden pattern, kind of like a cookie mold. And that's why Alberto Knox used the language of the cookie mold in the Sophie's Mold chapter, around which he would shape the pieces that he was carving. Right? So these ideas, they're out there somewhere. Plato means this literally. These ideas occupy their own world. You don't even have to open. I'm just going to reread one paragraph in the Plato chapter. It's the most important. Plato came to the conclusion that there must be a reality behind the material world. He called this reality the world of ideas. It contained the eternal and immutable patterns behind the various phenomena we come across in nature. This remarkable view is known as Plato's theory of ideas. Plato's talking about better and higher realities. Multiverse theory, long ahead of its time. There's another dimension, an alternate reality. And not only does he promise you that, does he tell you that, he says, and if you stick with me, I can get you there. But we're getting ahead of it. Yes, Plato promises multi-dimensional travel. For Plato, the ideas or the forms are more real than the physical things of this world. So here we've got 4 what? 4 apples. Now, Megan, you walk in and you see these 4. Do you like apples?
Yeah.
How do you like them apples?
Alright.
All right, okay. If I said you can pick any one you want, you just close your eyes and randomly grab, right? Doesn't matter. All 4 are just as good, right?
No.
Oh, Princess Megan, too good. Which apple? Princess Megan, would you please, Your Highness, come forth and point out the apple that you're too good for?
I'm too good for it? I'm too good for that one.
Well, la-di frickin' da. Okay, Princess Megan, why are you too good for that one?
Because it's rotten and I'm not about to have stink breath.
It's rotten, I'm not, but I mean that's a good. I think there are bigger concerns than stink breath when it comes to eating a rotten apple.
Okay, but like I'm not about to get sick.
Okay, not about to get sick. Yeah. You easily recognize all 4 as apples, but one of them is just, it's not nearly as appley as the others, is it? Used to be, right? You can imagine that one 2 weeks earlier probably looked just like that one, right? Right, so you know what it was, but you know it only kinda still is an apple. If I ask, is that an apple, the best we could say is, well, the answer is not quite no. But what's going on here is this apple is losing its appleness. It is in the process of no longer being an apple. And indeed, give it enough time, and by now, because I found that picture 6 years ago, and they had apples 6 years ago, yes. And there's no guarantee that it was a brand new picture at the time I found it. So by now, none of those 4 things are apples anymore. You know, the law of conservation of matter, all the matter still exists. All the appleness is gone. But appleness itself doesn't lose anything when the individual apples rot. The idea of appleness is now what it has always been and will always be. The idea appleness remains unchanged, perfect, incorporating everything that it could possibly mean to be an apple, and nothing can impact it. And remember from my ill-advised, I suppose, attempt to psychoanalyze Plato from beyond the grave, despite the fact that I'm not a psychologist and that he's been dead for 2,400 years, we understand why that's what Plato's interested in. The things that cannot be taken from him, the things that cannot change. Because his formative experience was the heartbreak of losing Socrates. When he found goodness, he found truth, he found beauty, and saw it ripped from him. He said, I want the goodness, I want the truth, I want the beauty that lasts. That's what's worth pursuing. That's what's real. And if you follow him, he's weird, but he's not dumb and he's not crazy. There is a logic, and a very difficult logic to poke holes in, behind Plato's weirdness about this better, higher realm. If it's possible to be wrong about the question, is a hot dog a sandwich? If it's possible to be wrong, if I say, well, you've got 3 good apples and 1 orange, that's the problem. Yeah. Well, am I right? If I accurately diagnose the scenario, 3 good apples and 1 orange, that's what's going on there, maybe? No. If it's possible for me to be wrong, then there must be something which it is to be an apple. And if that something's not real, then I can't be wrong. And it's just, well, that's your opinion. I'm going to eat it. Or let's reverse it. I don't like this version. So the new version. Libby thinks it's an orange, right? And so I say, no, it's a rotten apple. It's like, no, that's just your opinion, Mr. Childers. There's no such thing as right or wrong, because Plato's weird and crazy. There's no such thing as appleness and orangeness. It's all just a matter of opinion. Seems like that's the only alternative to Plato's weird-sounding idea, in which case, enjoy your orange there. You walk, Megan, yes.
I just had a thought. Like, for example, if some person were to grow up learning that an apple is an orange and an orange is an apple, is it like, what's the?
Oh, so the names are not what's significant for Plato. You're anticipating a medieval philosopher, William of Ockham, and his school of thought is nominalism, and he says all of these ideas are just names we give things. There's no reality to it, but that's hundreds of years in the future for Plato. You can, what name, because of course Plato wouldn't have talked about appleness. He would have, in all the years of teaching this, I've never looked up the Greek word for apple. Probably aplos or something. Because we created a new Spanish word for it too. Remember, manzanidad. So you say manzanidad, I say appleness. The names we're using don't impact anything, right? Okay, good question. All right, so let's see. Get right, come up here, come join me. Bring me another chair, There's one in the back nobody's using. So somebody in the back, bring me the chair nobody's using. Slower, please. Slower. Red, how you doing? Speaking of chairs, you walk into the room and you see that chair. Are you going to sit on it?
No.
Everybody's all these fancy folk, too good for perfectly ordinary, normal things. Look, all right, let me restate the question, because this is a pretty full class, and I have some class periods that have students sitting on the floor if everyone comes to school. That's why I'm always happy when Genetris doesn't come to school. Awesome, that's a chair. I can put my feet up. It's wonderful. So let's say the room is full, and that's the open chair. Does that change anything?
I'm not sitting on a chair that's on fire. Look, guys,
This is you right now. I'm not sitting on a chair that's on
I'm
fire.
not a liar, so my pants won't be on fire.
No, that was not funny. It was not funny. You're not laughing.
Are you jealous that he got someone to laugh at him and you couldn't
Well, okay,
laugh
we're
at
just
him?
talking about the ideal
Maybe
form
you
of
should accept that you're
funniness.
unfunny.
Funniness and how that is not reflected. You killed me. All right. So, you recognize that that's a chair still, right? But it's not much of a chair. It's like half a, and it's on its way to becoming less. So, it's losing something. What's it losing? It's losing its chairness. Yes, it's losing its chairness. Soon it won't be a chair anymore. Now, new scenario, you come in the next day, old scenario next day. You come in the next day, all the chairs are full. There's this pile of ashes on the floor. Do you sit there?
Technically, if I sit on it, it's still a chair.
Wrong. Be better. Not do better, be better. So it used to be a chair, right? But technically, the problem is, even if you know it used to be a chair, you're not going to sit there because it's not a chair anymore. And you're able to make that judgment, right? Because we could do the whole Democritus thing, where every atom in your body has been part of many things before. So, like, there are atoms in your body that used to be part of, like, an elephant's butt. I hope they're in your nose. And nevertheless, your nose is not an elephant's butt, because they've lost their elephant's buttness, right? So this has lost its chairness. Even if you know those are the ashes of a chair, you don't sit there. Why? Because you know what the idea of the form of chairness is. Right? You know that you judge what this is based on your idea of chairness, right? Okay, thank you. Speaking of chairness, I want empty chairness.
You can have your empty chairness.
This is a 35,000-year-old statue. I should really have left off the word horse and say, can you tell what this is a statue of? And then you'd all say something dumb, and I'd correct you, and then you'd all say, it's a statue of a horse, right? So let's imagine this is the sculptor, the brilliant artist for a caveman, right? 35,000 years old. Now, to carve a horse like this, carve a horse like this, oh, the shoe's coming. To carve a horse like this, I imagine this guy's seen a lot of horses, right? What are the odds? You come join me. What are the odds that you have seen? Have you ever seen any horses?
I have seen.
Have seen horses. You ever ridden a horse?
I have.
Yeah, I have too. I'm not good at it, but I have rodeo cowboys in the family. You have rodeo cowboys in the family?
I do not.
Loser.
You related to rodeo cowboys?
I'm related to rodeo cowboys.
Can you tell them to pull up? Let's
What?
have a day where we talk about being a rodeo cowboy.
Well, they're in like Mississippi and Alabama, but
Okay, they can ride their horses.
I'll see
Yeah,
what
exactly.
I'll see what they're up to later. What are the odds, Ethan, that you've ever seen any of the same horses that this guy saw?
Not very likely.
Not very likely. Horses don't live for 35,000 years, right? So you've seen horses, he's seen horses. You've not seen any of the same horses he's seen, and yet you have no trouble recognizing that what he has sculpted is a horse. Which means the individual horses that you've seen are not what determines what a horse is. The idea of horseness, all of his horses are dead. None of your horses had been born in his time. And yet the idea of horses just sort of reigns supreme out there in Plato's world of forms. Eternal, perfect, unchanging. Giddy up.
Also like gallop.
What is this? There's always one. All right. So you walk in the room, you see this on the floor. Fabiana, do you have any, as you look up from whatever, I guess you're probably taking notes. As you look up from your notes, do you have any trouble recognizing what this is? No, what is it? Just in case you were listening, how would she know if she wasn't listening? What is it? It's a shoe. It's a shoe. I'm dying. So,
Okay.
Mako and Benji. I had to split them up between the two classes, so only Mako is in the room right now. Andre Smelly's Mako and Benji walk into the room. They see this shoe. Now, Kendra, how does Andre Smelly's feel? What emotion is she experiencing?
Happy.
She's happy. Good job. And Kendra, ladies and gentlemen. And Mako, how do you feel?
Happy?
Yes. And how's Benji feeling?
Sad.
It doesn't matter.
Oh. Lee wins class. It does not matter how Benji feels ever. No, Benji feels sad. I wonder why. Well,
Because he's Benji. When is he not upset?
so, Andre Smellies has walked in. She's looked at this thing, right? And then her brain instantly does the brain thing with the columns, right? So she's run through all her ideas, and she's pulled up her idea of shoeness. And she's compared her idea of shoeness to the thing in front of her, and ding, 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 they match. And so she understands what's going on. And when you understand what's going on, you're happy. And so Andre Smellies is happy. Mako, you've done the same thing. You've compared the thing to your idea of shoes. Mako, come join me. Lee, you might want to take over the camera. It's your job anyway. Lazy.
Says you.
Can't do that in the Air Force, you know. No, you go to war.
Do you want to fight? Is that what I'm hearing right now?
Huh?
Do you want to fight? Is that what you're saying?
No.
That's what I thought.
So, Mako. Benji here, you see what's going on? Benji, for some reason, he's got it in his head that this is a shoe rather than a truly, truly awesome Achilles mug. He's got his idea of shoeness is that this is what shoeness is. So he sees the thing, he compares it to his idea of shoeness and they don't match, right? And so he's like sad and alone and scared in a world he no longer recognizes, right, Mako? Good, you're doing great so far. You're doing great. Is Mako right? Is that a shoe?
Yes.
Okay. So Mako's idea of shoeness is correct.
Yeah, yes.
Is Benji wrong?
Yeah.
Always.
Oh, it's every day.
Every day it's on your foot.
If it's meaningful to say that Mako and Andre Smellies are right and that Benji is wrong, that means, put that away, Brian. That means that Mako's idea of shoeness is not what makes this a shoe. Our ideas, they're important, they're what allow us to recognize things in this world we live in, but they're not in control of reality. Your idea of shoeness does not make that a shoe any more than Benji's idea of shoeness makes it a coffee cup. Which means beyond our idea of shoeness, there must be, says Plato, the idea of shoeness. The eternal, perfect, unchanging form or idea of shoeness. And yeah, now the names have changed because I leave little remnants of past years in here. So now you have become Yalik, Benji's become Mariah, and Andre Smellies has become Aya. So when Yalik is correct that that's a shoe, it means his idea of shoeness matches the idea of shoeness. If we believe it's possible to be right or wrong about anything, that must be the case. And if right, Michael? Sorry, I'm leaving you out of this. And if we can use the idea of shoeness to judge our idea of shoeness. And we use our idea to judge the physical shoe. Then the idea must be, unless our judgments are just arbitrary, we're making it up, we're pulling it out of our rear end. It could be a, do you like that saying? Yeah. That could just as well be a coffee cup or a giraffe or a gay rat's face or whatever. If it's possible to be right and wrong about stuff, and we use the idea to judge even the stuff, then, says Plato, in a way as weird as it sounds, in a way that's difficult to argue against, must be more real. Right, Mako? Okay, thank you, Mako. Ladies and gentlemen, Mako. Sorry, my slides are in random order again. You don't see any of this yet. You don't see any of that. You don't see any of that.
Oh.
Oh wait, you don't see that. All right. This is a good practice run. Baby grows up with a dog. So baby's used to dogs. Baby doesn't have the language yet. Megan asked about language. Baby doesn't have the language yet, but the baby has an idea of dogness. Baby recognizes this is a certain kind of thing. They get a new dog.
Oh.
They get a new dog. Now, from a baby's perspective, you and I would have no difficulty, but from a baby's perspective, at first this looks like a very different, this looks like a very, this looks like a very different kind of thing than that, doesn't it? So at first, baby doesn't know what to make of this new kind of thing because it doesn't match the baby's idea of dogness, does it, Mako? No. But then, without anyone sitting down and explaining it to the baby, because you can't do that with a baby, bing, baby. You like the special effects? Baby has a light bulb moment, and somehow from within, is that a girl baby or a boy baby?
It's a girl baby.
A girl baby. So from somewhere within herself, she has an insight. Remember, that's what insight means, to see it. Insight, light bulb moment. Bing, this is the same kind of thing as that thing. Figures it out for herself. Plato spent his youth following Socrates. Watching Socrates, remember, buzzing around people's faces, teaching them by doing what? What's the Socratic method of teaching? Teaching by doing what? Jane, just come join me. Jane, you say his job.
Yes, questions.
Our hairs are catching up.
Yeah.
Yours is getting shorter, mine's getting longer. We're about the same. Yeah. So, Jane Andrews, what was the Socratic method of teaching?
He asks questions.
He asked questions. Socrates isn't lecturing. Socrates isn't saying blah, 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 blah. Here's some information, right? Learning for Socrates is not like, I've probably said this before, it's not like dumping a bunch of stuff in the garbage can. It's like plunging a toilet and getting all the good stuff up.
Out of here.
Oh, right, Mako?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which means Plato following Socrates, Plato is one of these guys. Let's say he's the guy in the green. I'm just making that up because it's just an AI picture of Socrates. And he sees this happen all the bing, 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 bing. People having these light bulb moments. People discovering knowledge they already had, but didn't realize they had. So Plato, because Socrates is so important to him, Plato reflects deeply on how that can be possible. And we've all experienced it, right? You're working on, I think I use the same example. when we were talking Socrates, right, Janetris? We haven't heard the example yet. You're working on, have you taken algebra?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're working on an algebra problem. Tell me if this has ever happened to you. And You're working it, you're working it, you just don't get it. I know you keep getting the answer wrong, you just don't get it. Does that ever happen? Yeah. Nobody comes in. Who was your algebra teacher? Was it Mr. Lonis? Didn't go to the school. So let's say you did. All right, Mr. Lonis is an algebra teacher. That's all the background info you need for this wonderful example, which I think is going really well, right, Michael? Yeah. So Mr. Lonis is not coming over to your house in the evening while you're doing homework to explain it to you. Nobody's explaining anything to you. You keep working it, and then bing, my hand is going right over. Bing, the knowledge comes that you seemed not to have 30 seconds ago, now you have, and it came from within you. You experienced that? Yeah. That's a very fulfilling experience, is it not? I'm putting words in your mouth. Am I not?
Yeah.
Yeah. I shouldn't do that, should I?
No, you're like reading my mind.
Oh, yeah. All right. You're not reading mine, are you? Okay. So you have to go sit down. Right, Michael? No. So Plato's trying to figure out, how is this possible? How does a knowledge just magically appear in you? Because that's not a thing, right? Knowledge magically appearing. So how is it that you already have this knowledge that nobody taught you? He says, well, here's what it must be. You didn't learn it walking around. You didn't learn it with your physical senses, your sight, your hearing, I think there's more. You didn't learn it, right, Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't learn it that way, yet you have it. So the you that has physical experiences, your body, that can't be what really matters. Because after all, your body is not perfect, eternal, and unchanging, is it? My body's not eternal. It was never perfect, and it's constantly changing as I get older and older. So your body's not the source of your knowledge, like the empiricists, remember that term, like the empiricists say. Plato's a hardcore rationalist. Because your body's not you. It's yours, but it's not the real you. The real you, the core of you, is something that is not physical at all. Something Plato calls the soul. Right? The Greek word is psyche. It's the same word we get for psyche from. And psych. So and all that. The real, right, Marco?
Yeah.
Right, you know. Was it? Did you know that? Oh, I'm reading your mind, not the other.
Exactly.
Okay. So, the light bulb moment, and therefore all real learning, is explained by Plato this way. When you think you're learning, because that's what it feels like to the you that's this physical, meat bag.
Wow.
What's actually happening, like you're saying bone bag.
It's even worse. Stop talking.
Meat bone blood bag.
What?
Like intestines and stuff.
Just say
What?
Flesh.
Flesh is fine.
That's a good word. I've been saying meat bone blood bag for my whole life. Flesh. I like that, flesh. What you're really doing is you're remembering. The real you, your soul, is remembering knowledge that it once possessed. Because the real you is much older than this flesh, this meat bone blood bag.
Okay, bro.
With intestines and stuff. I mean, probably turds.
Oh my God.
Right, Michael? You know when you die, what happens, right? Anyway.
Like as old as you are, or?
No, that's impossible.
Here's the thing. So, far older. You might be trillions of years old. Right? You're not infinite years old, right? You did, later on, we'll explain why, you did have a beginning, but it could be eons ago, because you are not your body. And so you are not subject to the ravages of time. And you actually know everything. Because before you got from Plato's perspective, stuck, and from Plato's perspective, stuck, unfortunately, in this flesh, in the meat and blood bag. You spent untold eons in your true home. Your true home is none other than Plato's world of ideas. You are made of the same stuff as the eternal, perfect, unchanging ideas. And you spent jillions, perhaps, of years in the presence of all of these beautiful, good, true, perfect, eternal, unchanging ideas in total bliss, contemplating them. And then something happened. We'll hear a little of his theory of what later. Something happened, and now you're stuck in the meat, bone, blood bag. But the real you is gradually waking up. Gradually waking up to what it really is, where it really belongs, and it wants to go back. It wants to go back home. And Plato says, I can get you home. I can free you. Because here, in this world of meat, bone, blood bags, it's not always easy, right? So I can get you where back where you belong. Never again will you have to stand over the grave of a loved one. Never again will you lose what's important to you. The way to get back is, thank you, Jen. The way to get back is to devote yourself entirely, your whole person, entirely to the contemplation of the good, the true, and the beautiful. It's to give your life completely to philosophy. To cut your ties to the distracting things of this world that are shackling you to a lesser imperfect reality. To the things that we get addicted to, but also to money. Cut your ties to overindulging in food. Cut your ties to sex. Cut your ties to wealth and fame and power. Leave it all behind and devote yourself completely to philosophy. Plato means that, and Plato lives it as well as it can be lived, at least as an older man. Yes, Maggie?
So what I'm hearing is he was a cult leader?
So
He sounds more like a Mormon, like he doesn't do anything and
So
doesn't believe in anything.
what he has most in common with, ancient Greek though, what he has most in common with is not so much, now you could build a cult out of that, but he has more in common with, and he's a deep inspiration to monks and nuns. Right? Now he doesn't demand that his students do all of that right away. Socrates was married, and his student Aristotle will get married, but Plato doesn't. Plato, as best he can, when he's younger, well, we'll talk about that later, but he lived into his 80s, and some of that fire dies down, and he lives that way. Most people can't, though. Right? And not just because most people want to have sex, and most people want to have money and all that stuff, and we need most people to want that stuff, or there wouldn't be most people, because that's, you've had biology, right? You know how folks are made, right?
No, can you tell me?
No. Call Jen Entries, who was your biology teacher? Call Jen Entries' biology teacher, or just ask Mr. Lonas when he comes over to Jen Entries to help work out. What was I saying? Most people cannot live. How's my time?
7
We're almost done
minutes.
for the day. How's my time?
You have 7 minutes.
7, we're good. But Plato has wonderful news for you. You get as many chances as it takes. Because as much progress as you make, if you make a lot of progress toward giving your life to philosophy and to being a moral person who doesn't harm others, you die. All right, you die. You just all that was is you said goodbye to a meat bone blood bag. The real you's still alive, and the real you will come back. And you'll come back a little closer to the goal. And if you do well in that life, die, you'll come back even closer to the goal. Whereas if you live poorly, very attached to the fleeting things of this world, or especially if you're also immoral and you live in ways that do hurt other people, you'll come back even further from the goal, right? You might come back as a beggar or a slave. You might come back not human. You might come back as a rat or a maggot or a rat maggot.
Is this like the egg theory? I don't know if you know that.
Say more. Say more.
Oh, the egg theory is basically like you're the only person on the universe, and you'll be reincarnated as every person.
We'll talk about that in ethics. So it has reincarnation comment with that, but no, Plato thinks there were multiple souls,
Okay.
right? It is very similar to the view of reincarnation held in India, the view in Hinduism. And for 2,000 years, scholars have been trying to find a direct connection, some contact Plato had with the ideas of India. At his time, it's very unlikely. Just 50 years later, because Alexander the Great conquers India, and Greece and India are in contact. But in Plato's time, it's very unlikely he had direct contact with India. However, have you heard of the Silk Road? Silk Road is the trading network which runs from China to Europe. Nobody in Plato's time goes from China to Europe. It's all about little stops along the way. And at every stop, the merchants talk and they share ideas. And ideas gradually filter across the world. And they morph and they change. And Plato's very connected to the best ideas he has access to. So it is possible he's influenced by India, but not directly. In my reading of Plato, the other good news is it does seem to me somebody could read Plato and find something that I miss. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Of course, one never thinks one's wrong because that's not what being wrong is, right, Marco? That's not us, but we're almost done. I don't see anything in Plato like eternal damnation, like game over, you lose forever. It does seem, even if it takes a quintillion years, it does seem that Plato has hope that everyone eventually makes it. Of course, Plato's talking about this higher, better world, but he's still got to live in this one. So tomorrow we find out, what does Plato actually think about this world with pizza and farts and all the things of this world? Tomorrow we hear the famous allegory of the cave. Thank you. Lee and Mako, you want to take selfies and show them for our viewers who are
No,
recording?
they don't need the face
Mako
reveal.
doesn't need a selfie. Thank you, Megan. All right, the end.
Walk around a lot a bit, trying to make the pieces fit to a puzzle with a million missing pieces. When I'm feeling fine is when I discover that I'm afraid to blow my cover, and there's something very wrong with this. So slip back in your hole, or get back in your cave. If I'm going down, I'm taking someone with me.